All right, guys. Ooh, we on? Yes, maybe. Thanks for coming. I don't hear me, but if you guys hear me, it's fine. My name is Elaine Armbruster. I am here to bring sexy back to email. You probably saw that. A little bit about me. So as Tim mentioned, I've been kind of all over and doing email marketing since 2008 full time. So I was in financial services at Fiserv, small business at Manta. I worked for Cheetah Mail, which is an ESP. And when I was doing that, I was consulting with Victoria's Secret and Bath & Body Works primarily, which then led me into Bath & Body Works. And now I have been at The Ohio State University for about 14 months now. This is a real life mug that sits on my desk. My coworker Bree made that for me. So if you haven't figured it out yet, I hope that you know by the end of this presentation that I love email marketing. Love, like way too much. It's a problem. She also has these for sale in her trunk if you would like one at the end of the presentation. I also believe that your life can be told completely in emojis, so this is my life. Feel free to ask me anything about those at the end of the presentation. So today, why email is not sexy, why that is wrong. You will believe me, that is wrong. And then how we're using data to enhance our email marketing efforts at Ohio State. So in January, I got this article through email, ironically, about nothing sexy about email. And I was like, oh, you dare not. This highlighted part, I'll read it to you. Sometimes it feels like email is an overly dressed cougar at the bar, scanning the crowd for some young hottie. And I was just like, no, you did not. She goes on to talk about all these other channels that are so much better than email. Why even bother with email anymore? You have these channels, you don't need email. All right, fine, I get it. These are sexy. Brian is my boss. He suggested here a sexy Snapchat ghost. I'm sorry that's not dancing for you, but these are the sexy channels. It's what the kids are doing, right? I hear this a lot. Email will die with Gen Z because they don't check their email. I probably hear about 2 times a week, well, students don't read their email, so we're going to have to figure out something else for them. But guess what? They open their email more than everybody else. So that is wrong. This whole thing, it's wrong. So there's a study that Bluecore and NAPCO did about a year ago, and they asked, how do you want to receive brand communications? And they kind of split it up by different age groups. So baby boomers, okay, fine. The older group likes email, we get that. Generation X, it's still email. Millennials, we're going down a little bit, but it's still email. And then actually with Gen Z, it comes back up a little more. It's still email. Everybody wants to hear from brands via email. Awesome. Email is sexy. I feel like the point is proven. So can we all agree email, it's pretty sexy, right? I don't know what's better than people saying, yes, I want to hear your brand communications through that channel. So this is, the meat of it. What are we doing at Ohio State to enhance our efforts? And to give you a little background on my group and what we do. So I stepped into university marketing at Ohio State 14 months ago. I promptly had a heart attack. We are not always CAN spam compliant. It's true. There are a lot of different audiences. So we're sending to alumni, donors, students, faculty, staff, prospective faculty, prospective students, people who like sports, people who like research. It's a lot of different groups. And everybody's kind of in their own little silo sending to those groups. And so we're kind of dealing with everybody on top of each other sending messages. And some with great expertise, and some are just like, hey, I gotta check the box. I just need to get this email out the door. And so we're there to kind of offer some consultative support as well as send some marketing efforts of our own. So it's just a little background that I think you'll see as we go through. But I'm all about testing and I'm all about personalization. So I want to share with you guys what we're doing in those areas. So hopefully you'll find a little bit of inspiration into what we're doing. So I'm all about testing. I think you should be all about testing. These are my kind of things to live by when it comes to testing. It's specifically to email marketing, but they kind of work everywhere, right? Know what you're trying to learn, for one. It drives me crazy when people start to do multivariate testing and they don't know how to read a multivariate test. At least just know what you're trying to learn. If we're doing an A/B test, only change one thing. It's not that hard. Make sure it's statistically significant. I don't have to tell this group that, but we deal with a lot of people saying, well, that clearly won. But then you go back and run the numbers like, well, maybe it did. So we are always checking those things. So all these tests you'll see, they are statistically significant. And then never stop. So just because you tested something once 5 years ago doesn't mean that it stands today. So when I got there, the easiest thing for me to notice in a lot of the emails that were being sent was, what's the call to action? What am I supposed to do? It's a newsletter. Okay, I'm supposed to click, I'm supposed to read. But people scan email quickly. They need to kind of be prompted. This is a very easy test. Just by adding these buttons into our newsletter, we saw 4 to 7% increase in click to open rate. That's not too shabby. This one, honestly, I did not think was going to go very well. So this was working with a partner in the College of Law, and they sent their homecoming emails from OSU Law Alumni Affairs. But they decided to send it from people instead. And I thought, this is way too long, that's too many people. But this one was kind of crazy. They saw a 27% increase in open rate just by sending from a different person. We actually saw this at Bath & Body Works as well, so we did the same thing. You know, most people test subject lines, but not a lot of people venture into the from name. This can be pretty impactful, especially if you have like a sale or a special event going on. We would throw it in there for Bath & Body Works and get a pretty big boost. What was interesting about this one, it was qualified traffic. So the people that came in also clicked at a much higher rate.
So do you have to keep changing it in order to maintain that advantage?
Probably a little bit. I would say most of the time it's good to stick with one that you know it's your solid brand. But if you have something special going through, or in this case, if it's somebody that people recognize, it's not bad to send from that person. People, at least what I was told and why I was skeptical, I wasn't sure people knew who these class chairs were. But they do. They know who their class chair is. And so getting that more personal email had that feel of, hey. But from the brand side, yeah, you probably want to stick to your normal brand. And then when it's a special event, kind of blow it out. This one was fun. So we did a Vega versus direct test. And this one is all like, we're not telling you we're doing something at Cedar Point. This one is, hey, we're doing something at Cedar Point. 2 reasons why I hate this test. We saw almost 70% increase in click to open rate on the Vega version. But remember when I laughed when Tim said, what are we doing for marketing automation? I would also laugh when I say, what are we doing to track conversion? Because I can't track to know if those people were qualified traffic. So, you know, we still have a ways to go. I can drive you traffic with email, but do I know if these people actually went through and registered? No. So I'm probably not alone in having some messed up systems out there, I would bet. But yeah, yeah. So not alone. That's our next step, to do things like this and see what happens at the end. But hey, I can drive traffic if I need to drive traffic. This is a very interesting one. So our CMO really wants to encourage sharing. And she had sent us an example that she had got in her inbox where they had share buttons right there in the article of the email. Share this. It's got a Facebook, Twitter, and a LinkedIn button. We tested every variation of this. We did it a few times. We put it in different articles. We put it in all the articles. We put it in none of them. Nobody clicks on those things. Why would you click that from an email? I don't know why you would do that. You haven't read the article yet. But what's interesting is that the overall click to open rate went up. The click rate on the articles with the share buttons versus not was higher. And I don't know why this got weird, but the share rate from the article page also went up. So then people saw the share, went to the website, and then they shared it from the website. So I think that this is interesting. It's almost like I have a perception that the article is more important because you're telling me I should share it. So now we kind of are thinking about how we can use these strategically in email, or just the share call out in general. Maybe it's not every button. Maybe we ask you to tweet something in particular, but just that idea of sharing something seems to do something with engagement, which is pretty cool, not what we expected. This one hurts my head, and testing doesn't always go right is kind of another lesson. So we have the alumni newsletter, and so we did these like small blurbs versus longer ones, just to kind of see what would happen. And okay, fine, we changed it to longer, didn't work so well. So then we have another publication. What we're trying to do is standardize our emails. It's a little bit different audience, but it starts with the long one. So we're like, cool, we'll change it to the short, because that's how it worked here. Nope. So is it the audience? Is it I'm familiar with this? Is it the content that was in the newsletter? We don't really know what it is. We're going to keep testing on this idea. But some tests make us scratch our head, and we don't really know what to think. This, I don't know if anybody, I know a couple people here actually have done some things with Movable Ink. We have a contract with them, and we've been testing out some real-time email. And so we started out real simple. This one had a countdown clock that actually counted down to a day of giving with a video that played right in the inbox. And then this was a static version. And we wanted to test, what does using Movable Ink get us? Should we be paying for this? And so what we saw was 52% more clicks on this banner versus that banner, just the banner. 15% more clicks on the video, but 10% decrease in overall click. So we said, okay, what happened here? Did all of this become too distracting, and this did what it needed to do? It got people to focus and click on the link. That's our hypothesis.
You might have given them everything up front.
Exactly. So making.
Yeah.
Is it HTML5? Maybe some people couldn't see this stuff.
Most people should have been able to see it, but yeah, that is definitely a factor. Not everybody's video would have played in their email. But yeah, did we give them everything up front? This is a save the date email. Do I really need you to go to the website? Did you see everything you need? And so again, it's making a tough call, knowing people have a short attention span. Do we want to use Movable Ink to give them everything they need up front, engage them in the email, and not worry about driving traffic? Maybe sometimes, probably not always. But I thought this was a pretty interesting little test. Yeah.
Have you tested with the call to action with that email, like obvious in the email?
The actual call to action here, like what it says.
Like what you're supposed to do for that timer that's there. Like it says together we make history, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, the intention is actually not to click on those assets. They're clickable. So the fact that we got the clicks on them doesn't really do much for us. You know, the overall click rate being down is kind of the teller, like, well, if we need to drive traffic to the site, maybe that's not the way to do it. This is my favorite, and this is the last in testing, but sometimes people argue, and you're like, you know what? Stop arguing, we're just gonna test it. It's kind of like, I will turn this car right around. So Bree got to deal more with this one. They were arguing about, what should we make this picture be? What should it be? What kind of people should we put in there? How old should they be? What should they be doing? What should they be wearing? Well, guess what? People don't even like the picture. So don't even worry about it. Argument over. That's why I love email, you guys. So remember the study where it said everyone prefers email? They also asked, which channel is the most personal? And the graph looked almost exactly the same. And this is why people prefer their brand communications in email, because it has everything to do with personalization. So I didn't write this. It's from the study. This is their conclusion, but I think it makes sense. Email has the ability to use data to become a very personal channel, and that's why people prefer it when it comes to brand things. So make it personal. Go beyond, hi Elaine. That's not really the personalization we're talking about. It's great. You don't have to be creepy when you do this. You can be creepy, but you don't have to be creepy. I know that's a big thing people say is, well, isn't it kind of weird if I put everything I know about you in email? Not if you do it right. And then when we talk about things like marketing automation, which kind of goes into machine learning, artificial intelligence, what we're really talking about is personalization. We want these emails or marketing communications to be personal, and this is how we do it. So I think sometimes when you hear these kind of things thrown out in relation to email, it's like, but why, but how? Personalization is why we do those things. So 1.0, you stick the name in there. Maybe you stick a different field in, and it's dynamic and great. Maybe you do a little bit of segmentation. Great job. We don't even do it that well at Ohio State, so I don't know why I'm making fun of it. We're just, we have the ability to do this. We do it sometimes, but we can be better. But it's easy, and most people have the ability to do this. I think a lot of times people look at retailers and they say, those are the guys that get to have fun with email. And I'm not a really big retailer, so I can't have fun with email. But that is not true. So these are some examples that I do like. And yeah, they're from retail. Nike, I had purchased these two things. They're running items. And so they sent me an email about running with running content, more running clothes. Express, I buy dresses, so they target me with dresses. So this is something I might like because I purchased something. This is, I bought my old lady night cream. Getting older, guys. They are saying, hey, it's time to replenish, time to buy this again. So time to get more of what you bought before. Retail, it's cool, right? I put some boxing gloves in my shopping cart. Like a cool marketer, I waited because I knew they were going to send me a coupon. They did. Got them. Abandoned cart. So I put something in my cart, but I didn't complete my purchase. All great retail examples. But we're not retail. I can't do this. Or can I? So maybe somebody clicked on health and wellness content that we have. What might I be doing next because you did that? Maybe I know that you attended an event. You volunteered at the food bank. We have another one just like that coming up. How can I target you with that message? Or maybe you started to fill out an application, whatever kind of application, to donate, to become a student, to get more information. You didn't follow through. That's okay. We can retarget you. I would challenge you to think about these ideas in whatever vertical you're in. I would argue you can come up with ideas if you're a retailer or not. So this is Insights. It's our little baby within university marketing, and we're using it to try some fun things. So we intentionally created this modular design so that we can swap things in and out. It doesn't matter what the content is. It might shift a little at the bottom. That's okay. But we can flop stories in and out based on what we know about you, where you've been clicking on the site, what you've been clicking in email. We are tracking your every move. So if you go to insights.osu.edu and you sign up for this newsletter, we will track your every move.
Is that creepy at all?
No, not creepy at all. It's just full disclosure in this room. It's fine. But our content is limited. This is a new thing for us. We don't have much more than 4 stories a week. But I'm being challenged. How do you personalize this email, Elaine? We need to personalize to our audience. What do they want to see? Well, if you only give me 4 pieces of content a week, there's not much I can do. So how do we kind of start to dip our toes into personalization 2.0? So we're thinking about how can we customize the subject line. We've done some subject line testing enough to know that we can drive the clicks we want based on that subject line, basically qualified traffic again. But we've done some testing there. So do we change that? Do we change story 1 maybe, depending on what we know about you? I think this is the big thing for me. We want to create a control group that qualifies for personalization and then not personalize the email at all. We want to know, are we killing ourselves to personalize this email when it really doesn't matter? They're going to open it, they're going to click on it anyway. I don't know. And so I guess what I'll say here is results are coming soon. Sorry to disappoint you. We're just learning on this and we're trying to figure it out. It's a new thing. Someone asked what we're using for marketing automation. Currently, we're using Marketo for this. We're doing a pilot with them. But that's, may or may not be our tool of choice long term. I don't think that matters. As long as we're tracking everything you're doing, we're going to be able to get that information and then see what we see. So.
Question, we're kind of doing something similar in fact, moving to more of a modular thing, so it would be like real-time personalized learning platform. How are you getting buy-in from your stakeholders to help use that content to fuel this? Because we don't have content. No one's ever thought about content for email, low-res images on our website that we can't scrape. So how are you getting that to support you?
So the question is, how are you getting buy-in to get more content, essentially? Luckily, we have that kind of buy-in internally. It's more of a time and resource type thing. So we're working with our partners across the university, thinking about how we can repurpose things that are out there for this kind of publication. So.
What's the opposition against using older content? You said you only get 4 news stories a week, but
Yeah, there's no opposition. I wouldn't say there's opposition to using older content. It's just not in this format yet. And so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get an audience that may not know about Ohio State. They may not know anything but, hey, they have a football team and it's a really big school. So we're trying to talk to an audience differently. A lot of the content we have, I guess I should change it. We have a ton of content. It's written in a way that is for somebody who knows a lot about Ohio State. And so before we're comfortable sending people there, we probably want to change it to this type format first. But yes, normally people reuse content and there's no problem with that. If I tried to personalize this now, though, we'd run out tomorrow.
Elaine, you may have said this earlier in your presentation. You have a target audience.
In this Insights?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's people who don't know much about Ohio State, essentially. So it's thought leaders in the community, people who might have kids that are thinking about school, might be thinking about school themselves. It's a different kind of campaign to kind of go after an audience in a way that the university hasn't thought of before, essentially.
Is it a national campaign or is it
Not yet. Not yet.
How are you acquiring people that don't already know about you?
We've tried Facebook. We have tried Gmail ads. We are trying some code registration next to see what a low-cost option does. We're trying a few different things to acquire email specifically.
What is your philosophy on how many emails you want to send someone? And I ask that as an alum.
You get it. We're sending you a lot of emails. What's your name? Michael, if I had control over that, it wouldn't be that way. So here's my stance on how many emails you should send. We did a test at Bath & Body Works, and the test basically said send more email. I think you should always send more email if you have something relevant to say. The issue we're having at Ohio State is we're not talking to each other, and so we're all sending things and a lot of us are saying the same things. And so I'm not necessarily saying Ohio State should send more email until we start talking to each other better, and we are getting better. But yeah, I would say always send more email if you have something relevant to say, because people will open it and convert.
Are you guys using different systems?
Yes, like 50. Everybody's got a different system.
Make it sound better.
How's your deliverability?
It's actually pretty good. So we track our deliverability using return path, and we started cutting our list for the first time this past year to make it clean. So we're looking pretty good there.
How was return path?
I like return path. It has a lot of bells and whistles, so you have to talk them down and tell them what you really want to use. But yeah, I like it.
Mostly for deliverability?
Yes.
Cross-channel marketing, for instance, matching email addresses, home addresses, and kind of put pieces around.
Yes, we do some with that. We also will take the email addresses into social channels and target people that way. So yeah, we're using our email addresses in a couple different ways to connect who you are.
How is your success measured? I mean, is that based on how many people actually consider Ohio State?
Which part?
If any of your campaigns, is your success measured on just the number of clicks, number of conversions?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is it a broad business question?
Yeah.
Is what's Michael Bank paying you for?
Shh. Why would you say that? The thought why I get paid is to get people to engage with email. And so some people's goal is to get donations. Some groups, their goal is to get new students. Some is to attend events. So it really depends, depending on which college or unit I'm talking to. For a lot of newsletters, it's brand building. It's make you feel good, make you remember Ohio State. We're not selling anything hard in the newsletters themselves.
How do
But
you measure the brand aspect of it?
Brian's going to tell you that in 2 months.
We'll have it figured out by then.
You got a lot of internal clients then.
Yes.
How many?
So there's 15 colleges, and then there's Alumni Association, there's athletics, there's the medical center. Each of those have their own silos as well, and so yeah.
Sounds like 18 sports.
Yeah, it's a lot. I have a lot, and I don't even know everybody who's sending email. Not even close.
How many people come to your email marketing forum across campus?
Not this many, so this is good. No, we get about 30 to 50 people coming to we have a bi-monthly forum where we kind of have fun like this and talk about email internally to kind of get people on board.
Open to the public?
Maybe.
So you worked at several other brands in the area other than Ohio State. And Ohio State's clearly the most well-known brand in the area.
Yes.
So, how do you compare your experience dealing with things at Ohio State to dealing with, like, normal brands, not the brand that's, like, everybody, because, to be entirely frank, everything that hits my email inbox that says Ohio State on it goes into spam immediately, and I never open it. And on the other hand, there might be other people, and I'm an alumni too,
Yeah.
It just goes there.
Sure.
Yeah. Just unsubscribe. Well, it's too much trouble. I got unsubscribed.
Most people don't unsubscribe. Yeah, most people don't. That's fair. How does it compare? So before this, I came from L Brands, and before that, Cheetah Mail. And I learned almost, I feel like, the bulk of what I know about email marketing working at Cheetah Mail, working for an ESP, because you kind of see what everybody's doing. You get to see the good, the bad, the ugly. Most of it's pretty ugly. I think we tend to think everybody's got it together, and they don't. They don't know what they're doing. People are guessing. They're trying. L Brands, I think, compared to Ohio State, was pretty sophisticated. I mean, they've been doing it for a long time. It's a main driver of revenue, and so email has to be on point every day, all the time. And so it was more of a well-oiled engine, I guess, than Ohio State, because we're not having that direct tie to revenue. Or if an email doesn't go out tomorrow at Ohio State, all right, they can wait till the next day. And so we have a little more leniency to play with what we're doing, to test, because there's not that hard-hitting revenue goal for the day, I guess. But at the same time, there's not the urgency to get your stuff together and put a focus on what actually needs to be happening. That makes sense. Does that answer your question? Or,
I guess, but do you feel that it impacts how the overall approach and how it works? I guess that's the second question. Because clearly, if you're in Columbus and you don't know what Ohio State is, or haven't been touched in some way by Ohio State, you must be, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
But L brands, it's very easy to be in Columbus and not be touched by it, or, guaranteed heating, the various companies that I run, it's very easy. So you have a very different situation.
Sure, but I'd say we still have a message. Even though everybody in here has heard of Ohio State, everybody has a different perception of what they think about Ohio State, or what ESPN has said about Ohio State. And so I think we have a job that we're trying to say different things. We're trying to get you to donate. Why would I want to donate? They're asking for money all the time. We always hear that. Football, I just want my football tickets. Just give me my football tickets. So there's a lot of different messages, I guess I would say. So just because you've heard about Ohio State doesn't mean that you have the message that we want you to get, which would be the same for any other brand.
Well, I think as Elaine was talking earlier, how we're trying to get better at collaborating between units. Something, I'm a fairly new employee at Ohio State for about 9 months now, and I didn't realize, not being part of the university, how we are one brand, but we really are kind of separate brands when it comes to if you're an alumna or alumnus of a certain college. You're being directly marketed to by the College of Arts and Sciences or College of Engineering, and university marketing, and maybe the Alumni Association. And so as Elaine was talking about, that's something that you guys are, at the university, we're trying to have a little bit more cohesion there. So it is more of a one voice, one brand.
Yeah, just like if you're in retail, all of your merchants have a different message. It's kind of like that. All the merchants want to promote their product, and so we're trying to bring everybody together and make everyone happy and get their messages out there.
Just an observation. The biggest strength of Ohio State is the Alumni Association number of alumni. When I was traveling in Europe, all I had to do was wear the Ohio State hat.
OH, right? Yeah.
And so you're from Columbus. Who goes back there? We have a nice conversation. I never see numbers of alumni from Ohio State displayed on any of your emails. I get messages from Bishop School. I get Ohio State. I'm a big 60 student at Ohio State. I'm audit classes at Ohio State. And that's really the strength of Ohio State, is the connections you can have.
Yeah, it probably speaks to how decentralized it is, because that's not everybody's main message, essentially. But yeah, I agree. So,
People will be curious to see how many more we have.
right?
So you have the village, whatever.
Does Ohio State have the biggest alumni
As far as
population in the country?
I believe so.
Boy, you'd hope the brand marketing person would know the answer to that.
I don't
You
think it's
suck.
I don't think it's tracing. I think we have over 500,000
We have
alumni.
550.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The numbers are probably later, but then they've got, like 5 or 6 or whatever different things,
We did a campaign for the Wexner Center for an exhibit they had, and it was national, and it was staggering to find out, like just using Facebook, how many OSU alumni were in the Bay Area, in Tampa, in DC, in Chicago, just an enormous number of people.
A quick plug before you knock me off.
Wrap it up.
Look for this on LinkedIn, Columbus Email Marketers. I started this group. I would like to have drinks with you and talk about email. Maybe you'll get a mug, you never know. But if you like to talk about email, check that out. Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Awesome.